Hey YouTube, how are you doing? If you don't know who I am Manko1, a long-time Teemo jungle player, peaking in Challenger with it, ranked 73. Also, I've hit Challenger on a couple other roles throughout the years. But very exciting. This is going to be our all-inclusive Teemo jungle guide in celebration of the Teemo jungle buffs coming on February 19th. This guide is going to include runes, builds, playstyle, tips and tricks, and everything you need to know for Teemo. The reason why I'm really excited is because if you look at my account right now, again, I've been playing this for a while, but we are hitting stride this season on the Teemo jungle pick. So we are currently Diamond 2. Look at this win rate, 20-3, which is absolutely massive. And that 20-3 Diamond 2, that's kind of fake news. Our last game, funny enough, right? Our last game had Tyler 1 in it, but look at this MMR. We're playing in Challenger, Grandmaster, and most of these games are with high-level players. So it's still working, right? We're playing versus good players. It's still working, and I'm freaking excited. I know this is a top lane game. I got autofill. I got 60 LP, by the way. But as you can see here, the rest of them are all jungle. Little spoiler alert on the runes of builds, but I digress. So yeah, Teemo jungle right now is underperforming, but it is still fun, it's still playable, and it's getting a buff. Right, Freak says the buff should raise the win rate 1%. So hopefully that gives us a little traction. Because Teemo jungle does best when people believe in it and people are playing it actively. Because it's always there and it's always playable, just off meta. Now, you notice when Broxah started playing it, got a lot of people interested. It became a good quality pick. So we're hoping that happens again on the 19th. So this guide is going to prepare you for that and get you ready to abuse his buffs and get free LPs. So let's jump right in. The rune pages for Teemo jungle historically and currently have always been very, very simple. So historically, Hail Blades actually was the best rune page at one point in time. Like I said, I've been playing Teemo jungle in high elo since season 4, and this page was actually the most played from about season 4 to season 9 before Pressy Attack kind of took over the league landscape. But unfortunately, Hail Blades has been nerfed many times since then, so it's not even a consideration. You can see the tooltip here. 160% attack speed for melee champs for 3 autos. That's awesome. 80% for ranged. 80% does not feel like a lot, and it's not a lot. That's half value. So Hellblades is gutted. So that leaves us with only 2 Teemo jungle rune pages. The most popular one will be Dark Harvest. The best one will be Pressy Attack, and we'll break that down right now. So when I go to do my rune page, it's pretty static, right? It's not situational. You're playing jungle. You don't have matchups. So you do the same page every game. Pressy Attack, you go Triumph since you are going to be fighting a lot. You go Alacrity for attack speed. You go Cut Down. Coup de Grace to get the kills. Top lane goes Cut Down for poke, but Coup de Grace, you want to secure those kills. Now, here's the secondary that actually has changed recently. You get free boots since free boots is 300 gold that you don't have to spend, which you put towards the item, which clears faster. Now, here is the new tech. We used to go Cosmic Insight, more smites, more smites. But now we're going triple tonic. The reason is this helps your early game and helps you scale. So level 3, you get Elixir Avarice. What that does, that gives you 50 gold after it's done. It also gives damage to minions, which helps your first clear. Level 6, you get Elixir Force, which is I think 35 AP, and that either is going to help your clear, help you do a Dragon Fest, or help for a fight. And then level 9, you get an extra skill point, which obviously is amazing, right? So this has taken over as the better slot to Cosmic Insight. Now, of course, right, there's always options. This is what I think is the best rune page, but if you want to split secondary points, it's fine. Like if you said, hey, Manko, I want more shrooms, I'm going to go Ultimate Hunter, right? Like that's going to be a worse early game, but it's totally fine. It's not the end of the world. Hey, I want to have a better early game, right? So I go Absolute Focus, I get 3 AP level 1, and then you go Water Walking. Water Walking has been nerfed a lot, that's why I don't take this, but at the end of the day, do whatever the heck you want. This is just like what I do. Now, you shouldn't be changing the main thing. You shouldn't be saying, hey, not Pressy Attack, I go Fleet. You can't change the main one, you're trolling. But changing the secondary points, that'll be fine. It's not going to matter much. Attack speed, AP, scaling HP. This is your Teemo jungle rune page number 1. This is what I think is the best page. This is what I go. This allows you to have a good early game, allows you to play snowbally and up-tempo, upbeat, and Teemo's always going to scale. That's the nature of Teemo, right? So the scaling is fine as well. Now, when we get to builds, we do pair this with attack speed, right? That's why Pressy Attack comes in handy. And we'll get to that in the builds, just a little teaser for now. But the second rune page actually has been played a lot, popularized also by Mr. Broxaz's latest Dark Harvest, right? And this is we'll talk about the builds as well in a second. This is gonna be more for shroom based, less attack speed, more of that vintage AP Teemo style. So for this page, you will be going cheap shot for your shrooms and Q. Grizzly Mementos just because it's the most simple. Ultimate Hunter for more shrooms. Now the secondary is going to be up to you. Now like I said, I don't use this page. I go press attack every game. You saw the proof in the pudding earlier. I think playing Teemo upbeat, up tempo, play to win, play to snowball is the correct way to go. So this page, I couldn't tell you what's the best option, but I will give you the options. Of course, you go free boots and triple tonic, right? As we stated. You also could go attack speed. Right? You go attack speed and triumph for the kills. This attack speed helps you early, or you can just stack AP. Some people go absolute focus and water walking, or even just go absolute focus gathering storm and say, hey, I don't care what happened in the first 20, I'm playing for the last 20, right? So it's kind of up to you. If I had to recommend, I would just stay consistent with this, you know. But again, it's up to you. I don't use this page, so if you want to use this page, you want to be like Broxa, right? You know, this is also a page. I don't think this page is bad, right? The strengths, pros and cons is the strengths are you get to 20 minutes, you're a force, right? You're going to be a beast. You're going to be popping off. But getting to that 20 minutes, you have less 1v1 potential, more susceptible to the early game, like whether you get counter jungled or you take a fight. It's way weaker early game. It's noticeably weaker early game, right? And we're going to get into all those power spikes in the build section coming right up. So the runes, I feel like were generally simple, but the builds are going to be a lot more complicated. So pay attention here. And it's all going to start with the smite, right? So you have the 3 smites listed. Now, again, there's what I do and there's what's like been the history and what other players do, and we're going to lay all that out. So first off, Blue Smite on Teemo falls below the other two because Teemo already has built-in movement speed with his W. So you don't need the movement speed from the blue bushes because that's what it gives you, right? Because you're going over the cap and you're being less efficient. So Blue Smite is out because having too much of a stat's not good. Now here leaves 2 viable options, right? These are both viable, and to be honest, right, it doesn't really matter which one you take until you hit the super apex ranks where all the min-maxing matters. So it's pretty simple. I think Red Smite's the best because not only does it do damage, it also slows them. Right? Teemo doesn't have a slowness kit unless they hit a shroom, but if they don't hit a shroom, they could just walk away. This slows them. So I think Red Smite's the best. Green Smite's also good because you get a shield, right? So Teemo is a squishy champ. You get a shield, you don't get one tapped. Both of them are really good and are viable, so we're just going to leave them both in the equation. It's up to you. Either one is fine. Now, here's going to be the 2 builds, and they really depend on which kind of rune you're going, right? But also they don't, and I'll break that down in a second. I'm just going to put them here and we'll talk about it. Again, more complicated. Okay, so you have this build. As you can see, it's more of like a shroom setup. And you have this build for attack speed. So the way my brain works, I like having synergy with my runes and builds with Teemo. For example, not related to Teemo jungle, related to every other role. Say I'm going top lane. Well, if I go press the attack, I want to go Nashers or Dusk and Dawn. Because press the attack is good with your autos and sustain damage, and those items are good too. If I'm going, you know, Dark Harvest, Nashers could still be okay, but you don't need to go Nashers. When I go Dark Harvest, I want to go something like Leandri's, like a Void Staff, like a Malignance, because Dark Harvest, you don't have to be in their face. You can be more shroom-based, more stick and move, more mage-like. So I always synergize, right? If I'm going tank mo, guess what? I'm going to go Grassy and Dying. Because if I'm going tank mo, Grassy and Dying synergizes with HP, you know? And this is how I play Teemo. That's how I look at Teemo. So with Teemo, who's a very flexible champ, you don't have to do this, right? If you go Dark Harvest, you can still go Nashers. You're not going to instantly combust and lose the game. But I think there is a merit in synergizing. So that being said, this is how I list it out as. When I'm going press the attack, right, I go Red Smite because damage and slow while altering them is great. And I go Nashers to Dusk and Dawn, and we'll get into situational in a second. So this is my press the attack page. And then if you want to go Dark Harvest, you know, Brox or whatever Teemo jungle player you do, you can go Malignance Leandri's, right? And you play more of that off the beaten path kind of thing. Now, here's the outlier. Broxa likes to go Green Smite and Dark Harvest. It doesn't make any sense to me, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. These are so small changes, right? Because you would think, hey, Red Smite was synergized more with this because you just care about killing them. I don't know, but again, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of just preference. So these are going to be the base builds. Then, of course, you always have situational items to build on Teemo, right? Like situational items, I'll put them all here and we'll talk about it because this is kind of like the hardest part about Teemo, if I'm being honest. So there are some items that just aren't really that good on Teemo, you know, like Equalizer, right? Actualizer, because you're not going to use the mana. But these are going to be the items I think are good on Teemo. So we do the optional, the situational items, right? So if you're going attack speed, you know, I usually will go Bloodletters next. Give a little bit of health and pen. Maybe a Zanya's, right? So Zanya's for defensive, Bloodletters for pen. Death Cap for late game damage, Shadow Flame for snowballing, because this is good to secure those kills. Banshees if you want to reduce their chance of getting picked. Gunblade has fallen out of favor for the jungle because you already get Omnivamp, so we're taking that out. So it's kind of like the situational hoopla, right? Those are going to be the items. So my typical build usually will be Bloodletters. I think it's just better than Void. Zanya so I could survive, and a Death Cap last item. That's my general build, but again, these 3 items are situational. Now for Dark Harvest Shroom, right? It's more of a one-shotty playstyle. Little like, hey, auto Q, run away, pop them. So for this, it's like, I would say it's even more better to go for that snowballing, right? So it's like go Dark Harvest, go for like a Shroom setup or full AP. Shadow Flame gets a little more value because you're going to have a lot more damage. Void Staff gets a little more value because you'll have a lot more damage. Now, like, look at the difference from the builds, right? Now we came full circle to where like, hey, you know, these are 2 different builds, but this could help you win and understand Teemo more. So that's kind of the building to them. Again, very confusing, not simple like the runes, but pretty much, yeah, I like to go Red Smite, and this is my build right here. This is what I'll be doing every game, because press the attack and attack speed gives you more 1v1 potential, gives you more early game, more snowbally. That's what I think the jungle is all about. I hate just scaling and waiting. But again, you don't have to do this. That's how I play. So if you like going the more scaly, the more one-shotty, the more shroom based, you can go this. And the pros of this are, if you get these items and you get Dark Harvest stacks, you're going to absolutely one-shot everybody. So that is how to build with Teemo Jungle. Now let's cover everything else, all the fun stuff. Before we hop into the games, I did want to cover briefly on matchups and banning as Teemo Jungle. So, jungle matchups don't exist. They're not a thing until you reach Apex tiers. Because to have a matchup, you have to guarantee something's going to happen. Like top lane Teemo matchups are a thing because you're playing Teemo, they're playing Heimerdinger. There is nothing you do at all levels. Even in silver, that Heimer puts a turret down, he kills you, right? You don't have the tools to kill the turret, unlike an Mbessa who has AoE damage, right? So top lane matchups are a thing, but jungle matchups don't matter until the Apex ranks because their jungle is not guaranteed to do what that jungler does to win the game, right? Like, in Apex tier, Teemo Jungle will get countered by Lee Sin because it's Faker on Lee Sin. And that Lee Sin will run at your camps and will kill you because he's really strong. But in lower tiers, that a silver Lee Sin's not going to counter jungler, it's going to farm, right? So matchups don't matter in the jungle until Apex tiers. So that's not what we're talking about here. We're going to talk about banning. So who do you ban as Teemo Jungle? Because ban phase is pretty important. So I ban by percentages. This is something I've always done. So what you'll do here, I use UGG. There's plenty of websites you can use, but you go to your rank and you figure out what is being picked the most and what poops on you as Teemo. So for example, for me, I'll put it Masters Plus. I'll put it NA. I'll put pick rate there. So, hey, I'm playing Teemo Jungle. Which of these champs do I absolutely crap myself and I'm scared of? Kha'Zix is a pretty good ban because Kha'Zix, you know, again, he doesn't counter Teemo, but Kha'Zix deals with Teemo pretty well. He's an assassin that could one-shot you, and he could also go stealth so you can't retaliate. So I would ban Kha'Zix. That was easy, right? Now, if you look at your rank, right, say you're Platinum, and you're on Platinum, you're on EU West, okay? Who's the highest pick? Well, now you ask yourself. It's totally up to you. You're the one banning, you're the one playing. So you ask yourself, hey, are you terrified of Viego Jungle? I think Viego Jungle is actually pretty good for Teemo because you can blind him, which does reduce a lot of his damage, and he feels like he's not too crazy. So I wouldn't ban Viego. Then I would ban Kha'Zix second. If you are finding the Kha'Zix, does Diana give you trouble? Diana gives me trouble, I would ban Diana. Briar looks pretty strong, but Teemo actually poops on Briar because you just blind her, right? So you do this trick, you know, and this is how you ban on Teemo Jungle. And I hope these words of wisdom helped, you know, you get over that counter matchup thing, because that's a really big thing in modern day League, but it's simply not true. Now, on to the game. Alright, so now we'll be talking about the Teemo jungle tips and tricks. So the biggest tip and trick is showing you how to clear, because this is going to be the hardest part about Teemo jungle. It's not as easy as it looks. Now, the tips and tricks start level 1. First tip and trick is you don't buy a health pot. Teemo's jungle's clear is a little bit slower, but it's going to be more healthy, right? So you don't waste 50 gold on a health pot, you save that gold for your first base, which will be another tip and trick I'll tell you in a second here. But so Teemo jungle kiting is going to be the biggest thing you need to learn. That's why we're taking the time to show you here. So you always want to be moving, right? You want to be kiting the mobs to save that HP. If you stand still, you're not going to die, but one, you look like a noob, and two, you will have lower HP. Maybe you have to waste that 50 gold for a pot. So you see I'm auto-attacking here and always moving. Now look at this threat meter above him. This threat meter, when it's going to reset, it will start going yellow. You see that there? When that bar hits nothing, it will then reset. So make sure to pay a lot of attention to that. Because when you're a range champ, you're going to be fooling with that threat bar a lot. So tip and trick number 2 on this clear, you want to focus the big Krug first, allowing it time to pop. I put one auto on the small Krug to get that dot going with the poison. But you want to kill the big Krug first, because then, you know, they will pop. The poison will start spreading, and they'll die by themselves. Because with the jungle pet, it does AoE damage. Now, I always do tip and trick number 3, all for clearing alone. You always auto everything once to get that poison spreading. This camp's a little bit hard because you have to, you know, it's very hard to click these little raptors. But there you go, we just clicked them all. One auto on each, you finish the big one, the rest will die. So, you know, again, Teemo jungle, wow, this is kind of hard to play. People rag on Teemo, but this is a lot. E level 3, tip and trick number 4 for the clear alone. E level 3 because it gives you so much more damage, and pop that elixir. Remember, this rune page, this elixir gives damage on a hit, helps you clear a little bit faster. And again, always just kiting, auto Q, use the Q after auto. Tip and trick number 5 for the clear alone, go Gromp before blue. Because when you do Gromp, it's going to respawn way faster. If you do blue for your next clear after your wolves, you have to sit here and wait for Gromp. So you do Gromp instead of blue here. I save my smite for blue generally, because then I also can see what's happening on the map and whatnot. Then we finish off with the blue here. So Teemo jungle, this is pre-buffed. We're recording this with the poison being 145%. After the buff, that poison will be 160%. We'll be looking at a 3-minute clear all day, right? Now, again, I like to smite this so I can start fighting for the scuttle, but it really just depends. If you see their jungler on the bot scuttle, you can just not smite it, but I do like to choose smite. Now, the last tip and trick for the clear alone, right? We base here, buying strategically on Teemo. The reason why I like my build with Nashor's Dusk, look at my first buy here. Attack speed is king, right? Boom. That's my first buy. So you always want to buy accordingly. That's with just full clearing. You know, you have no extra gold, right? That's going to be my first buy most games. But if you have the extra gold, Blasting Wand Dagger is going to be a better buy, right? But usually you don't have that gold. But you want to buy stuff really strong. With my build with all the attack speed, right? I can get 2 daggers for boots, and I can get recurve bow for Nashers. So if I can buy just this and 2 daggers, that's really strong, because you want to be able to clear the camps as fast as possible. You never want to buy stuff that's weak in the jungle early game. So if I were to buy this first item, I'm an idiot. That just makes me so much weaker. Now my clear's going to struggle. So the last tip and trick for the clear alone is just buy strong. This is why I don't like Malignance, right? Because after you buy this, your early game's going to suffer. Or Leandre's, it's like this will help, but not really that much because you only use Q one time. So it's like Nashor's is the highest, the best build path early, right? So that is all for clearing and buying. Now when we look at tips and tricks, I will have some gameplay footage as well. But the biggest thing with Teemo, so the biggest tip and trick you don't do, is you don't stealth before the camp. A lot of people ask, hey, why don't you stealth before the camp get attack speed? It takes you 1.5 seconds of stealth for 20% attack speed. That's simply not worth it. Right? And then by the time you get later in the game, you're already clearing fast enough, so you don't have to do this anyway. So stealthing for attack speed is a trade-off. It's less clear speed for more HP, but he already has a lot of HP. The biggest thing that helps me snowball and win games as Teemo jungle is using your passive to gank or to counter gank. Oftentimes in the bot lane, right? If we ever push this wave out, say we push this wave out, you can just park right here, and you're playing jungle. You cleared your camps. You don't have to go top lane. You can just wait right here. and their bot lane will come back, your bot lane will come back, and you just kill them. And then I call this a double dip. After you get a kill here, I call this a double dip to where Teemo, again, Teemo does a lot of damage. You go over here, and then I oftentimes will do it again. And I'll just wait right here. And they will walk. You kill them. Again, if you're fed, if you have Nashers, you can one-shot an EC. And that's like the biggest thing that I can say is so broken. I single-handedly win games from doing this because their ADC no longer wants to play, right? Another tip and trick for Teemo Jungle is don't be afraid to side lane. Side laning is so broken on the pick. When you're 15, 20 minutes in the game, a lot of times your laners are scared to side lane. It's a very big thing in solo queue right now. Macros kind of become a lost art. When you side lane, you're pressuring a side lane, then you could roam with your W, all the movement speed. You can just put in so much value. So those are going to be the big tips and tricks for Teemo Jungle. Now we're going to show you a game or two where we actually use all the info we just talked about, runes, builds, tips, and tricks to clear, and we'll show you how to dominate on Teemo Jungle. And again, with the buff coming out, very exciting stuff, so stay tuned.